Hi, everybody. I'm Donald Clark. It's good to be back. How is everyone? So it's been very fall here in upstate New York, very autumny, and we're in full autumn mode here. Lots of leaves and decorations. My daughters and I decorated the other day for Halloween a little bit. Nothing spooky though. Simply just some fun ghosts and eyeballs. So I hope everyone's getting ready for the seasons because here it comes. And we've talked about in the past how it's important to try to transition, from season to season appropriately, and do it so that you remain healthy. It's really important. And if you need further input on that, just check out some of the earlier videos, the Facebook drops, and we talk about transitioning to season transitions and how it's one of the most important times to take care of yourself because you don't want to go from one season into the next season not feeling very well. So stay healthy. Today, I wanted just to talk a little bit about simple tips to help with fertility. And I know we've gone over it in the past, but I always want to take the opportunity to go over it again because it really is important. And generally speaking, if you're here and you're watching these videos, or you're a patient already, you're very healthy. You've gone through a lot of steps, and it's you're in the journey, right? And so family planning is utmost important for everybody, right? And so you've done all the hard work, and you're in the journey. Some of you are cycling, some of you are preparing for your transfer, some of you are preparing for your retrieval, some of you are currently pregnant. So it runs the whole spectrum of fertility. So I wanted to just chat a little bit about some simple things you can do to help your fertility, and or I should say help pregnancy too. And so we've talked in the past on the importance of slowing or decreasing exercise. And I try to break it down as simple as possible. And I've seen it so many times. This is my 15th year here, and so I've had the privilege of seeing so many beautiful faces and going on so many journeys with so many families. And I can, so what I see is generally what I talk about, and my job, or my life, my calling is to create the best environment possible for you in this journey of family planning. And so everything that I tell you is simply, it's just suggestions, right? It's things that I've seen that work throughout the years. And so I just want to share it with you. Take it however you take it, piecemeal it, glean one thing, it's up to you. Again, this is your journey. And I always try to remind everybody that I'm simply just the tool, right? I'm the hammer, or I'm sorry, I'm the nail. You're the hammer, right? So you're gonna do with the information what you want to. And so one thing that I have noticed throughout the years is that exercise. Everyone loves exercise, right? It's just so important, in everyone's lives, and not everyone's, but a lot of people's lives. And I understand the value of it as well. But I can honestly say, if you're training, or if you're constantly in motion, or you're hitting it every day, what that does is it puts a lot of stress on the body, right? There's a lot of endorphins and a lot of cortisol that is released throughout that process. And though you feel good, and you sometimes think that maybe exercise is the best thing for you in certain times of your life, yes, it can be fabulous. But other times of your life, it's not necessarily the best, and especially when you're family planning, or preparing for or trying to get pregnant naturally, or preparing for an IVF cycle. And so what happens is, if you're flooding your body with those hormones, it doesn't block the fertility hormones per se, but they have to share the same pathway, right? And so you have more crowding of the hormonal pathways. So if you can decrease some of the stress hormones, so the adrenalines and the cortisols, and the it's going to make it easier for the progesterones and the estrogens and the other hormones to move freer in the body. And I always like to resort back to nature, right? Because that's where we come. Everything is nature around us, right? And you see a lot of mammals per se. They aren't getting pregnant in migration, right? So when they're migrating, they tend to not get pregnant, right? It's when they get somewhere that they get pregnant, and then they'll migrate somewhere else and have the offspring. But you don't see it in the migration, especially because all of their energy is focused on getting them from point A to point B. It's a survival mechanism, right? So if we're constantly in motion, we're training, we're working out, the biophysiology or the reproductive physiology doesn't distinguish the difference between stress reduction with exercise and basically essentially migration. So that it tends to put a lot of pressure on fertility. And so I always recommend that if you are family planning, slow down on your exercise, right? And if you're competing, and it's super duper important for you, then awesome, but if you can slow your pace a little bit, or if you're weight training, if you can, bring the weights down a little bit, your body will see that and it will respond nicely. And if exercise is what keeps you sane throughout the week or the day, then continue to exercise and try to moderate it as much as possible. But if you can, I strongly encourage you to not exercise. I encourage you to go for walks, right? Go for walks, and I don't mean like headphones, weights, big socks, headphones, and power walking. I just go for a walk around the block, or out in the woods, take the dogs for a walk or whatnot. And that's a nice casual stroll, right? And I mean, we're busy as it is anyways, right? And so that's enough to keep us going. I encourage everyone to do some yoga, right? Try to do yoga. If you need to stretch and feel your body and feel your muscles, by all means, do some yoga. And I don't really want you to do strength yoga. I'd like you to do restorative yoga. It's a little bit more gentle, and it's better for you. You can build more energy, and so that's how I feel about exercise, right? And let's talk a little bit about foods, right? So try to eat lots of high fat foods: creams, cheeses, butters, eggs, meats, and for two reasons specifically. One is, if you're eating higher fat food, you're less likely to want to grab the empty calories, the pastries, the chips, the snack foods that we have around the house, especially if we have children. We have a lot of snacks, and if you're go and you're hungry, I get it. It's just so much easier when you're in survival mode to eat something that is quick and easy, but it's not always the best thing for you. So you want to make sure you try to eat higher fat foods, because what it does is it fills you up, and you're content, right? You've eaten some high fat food, be it what cheeses and butters and meats and bacons and all of that. You're full, right? And you're powering through the day, and you're not so quick to be like, I'm just so hungry, I'm just going to eat whatever I can get my hands on. And that's where we kind of go astray, right? And so if you're eating higher fat foods, you're decreasing your inflammation, you're decreasing your exposure to gluten. A lot of people have gluten sensitivities. And if you're eating lots of carbs, you're going to have lots of inflammation, right? And inflammation is bad in every aspect of inflammation, unless you're trying to blow up a balloon, right? So try to avoid the foods that are going to cause inflammation, right? That's a lot of carbs, right? A lot of glutens. And I encourage everyone to try to go gluten-free, even if it's 10% of the gluten that you eat. It's 10% less than normal, and so keep that in mind. And also, the second part about it is, the one thing I have seen that it's very common in women is that women tend to be a little bit blood deficient. Heavy menstrual cycles, genetics, can be inherited, or if you had some sort of a surgery and lost a lot of blood, women tend to be a little blood deficient. So if you're eating lots of iron-rich meats, it's going to tend to strengthen your blood. And you need a strong blood source, a healthy blood source, to create lining and viable follicles, and eggs, right? You need all of that. And so keep your iron levels high. And if you have a history of anemia or blood deficiency, keep it in check, especially right around your menstrual cycle. And that's gonna just ensure that you're not slipping into anemia during your menses. And so get your blood checked. If you have a history of it, make sure you don't have it. And that's kind of the number one thing I see during my day is blood deficiency. So keep that in mind. Um, Another thing that I find super duper beneficial in this whole process of family planning is limit yourself to your obligations, right? We have a baseline obligations that we are responsible for. It's our family, it's our friends, it's our children, it's our work. It's super important, but try not to venture out too much. So don't spread yourself too thin during this time. What Honestly, really, what good are we if we're stressed out, burnt out, and exhausted, right? So we need to preserve our own health, and we need to stay healthy for everyone around us. It's super duper important. So I see a lot of people, men and women, just grinding it out throughout the work week, working to the weekend, grinding it out, but more importantly, putting in a lot of overtime. And overtime overtime is a double-edged sword, right? It's great because you get work done. It's great because you can make more money, but it's bad because it takes you away from the things that are super duper important at this time, right? And I always ask people to check themselves. All right, just check yourself. Step back for a minute from your grind, right? Listen to what people are saying. Listen to yourself. Trust your instincts, right? It's super duper important. And family planning and having babies and our own health is very instinctual, right? So listen to your instincts, follow your instincts, and good things will come from that. You will know that you've trusted yourself, and that is huge in the journey of life and family planning. Listening to yourself. Don't forget about yourself, right? It's super important. We can get lost, right? We can get lost in everything. And but at the end of the day, if we're not healthy and we're not happy, it's going to have a huge impact on the future, right? So take care of ourselves, and in doing so, we take care of those around us at the same time. In this journey, in this journey of family planning, um, it can get long, right? And even in the journey of life, it can get hard. And if you're not making hard decisions, and if you're not doing the hard things in life, um, it's doing the hard things in life is sometimes what is the best option, right? And so making these huge changes is hard to do, but it's the best thing to do, right? So we need to keep that in mind. You know, Eating sugar, right? It's so easy. You're in the grocery line checking out, and what do you see? A wall of candy. It's so easy just to grab it, right? It's easy to grab it. It's hard to not grab it, right? And so when you're doing the hard things, when you're making the hard decisions, it's it's for the better. And you gotta keep that close to you. You gotta keep that personal battle close to you. And remember, life is hard, right? And family planning is hard, and sticking with it is the best thing you can do, right? I mean, we all have our limits, and we need to acknowledge that, and respect that, and that's awesome. But making the hard choices sometimes is the best thing to do with the better outcome, and try to stay beautiful throughout it all, right? Because you know if you can stay beautiful and you can let the light in, and keep your love light on, it's going to make a huge difference in your future and for the future of people around you. So be well, everybody. Stay safe. Take care of yourself, and keep on going, right? It's super duper important, and I'm happy. Call, text me, email me, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. We're here all the time, and we love to talk to you about any kind of questions that you have, and don't be afraid to do that. It's let us let us do what we want to do, and it'll help. Thank you very much, and have a good weekend, everybody.